Hi everyone, thanks for tuning into Bluegrass Home and Garden TV. This is our all things red, white, and blue Pinterest hits and misses episode. As we get a little bit closer to the holiday, we wanted to give you some inspiration to maybe decorate and celebrate the holiday around your home that are quick and easy. So this is like rapid fire Pinterest projects, okay? So great show lined up. We're gonna hear from Springhouse Gardens right now. Make sure you keep it here.
Well, it's late May, early June, and the gardens are getting colorful. We're heading into wedding season here at Springhouse Gardens in the barn at Springhouse. So it's really important for us to make sure we have some seasonal color, and that means annual flowers. So that's one of the funnest things for me as a landscape architect and landscape designer, to design these seasonal plantings. So this is one of the funnest areas, and this is down at our cottage, what we call this is the court at the cottage. And over the past 6, 7 years, I've been doing flower displays for the weddings and for our landscape demonstrations. And I've not had problems with laying the plants with rabbits. This year, I was laying these out one night, come back, and this is what a plant just like this looks like the day after the rabbits had a little party out here. So I'm not real happy about that. Plus, I've gotten some in the ground here, actually got them physically planted, not just laying them out ahead of time, and it came back and they're getting all eaten up like what you see right in here. I mean, that is very discouraging. So I don't know if any of y'all are working with, dealing with gardening with rabbits. Down here, I guess we just have a perfect place for rabbits. So I'm trying this product here. There's a lot of things on the market, but so far this seems to be working. They haven't been having dinner out here the past 3 nights that we've sprayed our plants with this. I'm hoping that once the rabbits get a bad taste in their mouth, that they won't come back. But I'm not going to be able to keep spraying this because you have to reapply it after rain or after irrigation. So I might have to try some other things, but hopefully we'll be able to get these plants in the ground and keep the rabbits away from them so that they're going to look good for our first wedding and our subsequent weddings all through the rest of the summer and into the fall. So this is what I've been doing lately, and hopefully that you like seeing what we're doing here.
Thanks for keeping it here. Okay, Pinterest project red, white, and blue number 1. All right, pool noodles. We have duct taped them together to give us a super cheap, quick, lightweight wreath mold. And what we're going to do is we're going to cover it with burlap or any kind of material that you want. I went with burlap here. I'm going to slide this one off. And I do recommend that you get some help when you're trying to duct tape this, because that can be a little tricky. We're taking items that we found at one of the dollar places. I found this cute bow. We're going to glue it or wire it in right there. And then these were actually like contained together. Like, so they were like meant to be hung by themselves. I just ripped all that off and made them isolated pieces so we could kind of pick and choose what we want. So first of all, I'm going to go with my bow. Let's see. Or do I want to go with the side? Ooh, decisions. I think I'm going to go with the side. Yeah. Right or left? Right or left? Go this way. All right. I will probably go back after the fact and add a little bit more wire or glue just to make sure that this adheres. It has this, but I just don't think that will adhere all the way around. So let that stay. Okay. All right, since I have went with the bow on the side, I want to make sure that something is covering up my center part. So I'm actually going to go with the USA. Ooh, or, see, wheels are turning, people, wheels are turning. No, I think I'm gonna go with USA. And I don't want these to be like too planned. I want them to be a little whimsical. So I'm gonna just add some glue here. I can always go back and add more and secure it. Let that dry. Add another one. And I'll go back after I get these initially put into place and make sure they're adhered really, really well, because I don't want them flying off later. Did anybody try the flip-flop wreath we did? The rulers I used, the heat got to them, fell apart. So there's a Pinterest hits and misses, make sure you use a little bit higher quality, probably wooden ruler. Okay, I could go back and add more, but if you want something super quick, easy, cheap, here we go. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. I could add them in, add more flowers, play around with it. I'll probably go back after the fact and be like, oh, maybe I should have the letters a little bit closer. I like to analyze everything after the fact. And like I said, I'll go back in, add a little bit more glue to make sure that it is adhered really, really well. You could play around with that, but I like the fact that this is all glitter and then it's very subdued, kind of offset with all the burlap. All right, stay tuned. We've got more coming your way.
We always have all kinds of leftovers whenever we have cookouts or barbecues. One thing I like to do is, with my leftover pulled pork, I like pulled pork nachos. All you do is just get you some chips, just get them spread out however. I do them different ways because some people like them differently. Some people like the barbecue sauce. Some people like no barbecue sauce. Some people like some jalapenos on them. It all just depends. I'm from Texas. I like jalapenos. So it's all just kind of however you want to do it. Everyone has their own little taste and it's really, really simple. What I like to do, I like to put a base of cheese and just kind of spread it somewhat evenly so it will melt about the same while you're cooking it. All right, and then now's the fun part, the pulled pork. All right, getting that on there and just kind of putting a little dab. You don't want a whole lot because it can very easily just be all pulled pork, and so that we want it to have the flavor profiles of a true nacho. And like I said, everyone can do them differently. That's the beautiful thing about barbecue. It's different styles from different regions. I do my pulled pork in a Carolina style with a Texas twist on how the woods that I use. So I use oak, mesquite, hickory, and pecan. But my sauces and stuff are vinegar based. And to break down the pulled pork to help it cook better, when it's smoking, I like to put apple juice inside of it so that the acidity inside of it will help break down how everything goes, and it just pulls a whole lot better when it's time. Now, here's the time for, well, that one felt a little left out. Now's the time that you can change it up however you want to do it. So I'm going to do some of these with jalapenos and some of them without. All right. Then what I like to do, I like to put a little bit more cheese on it. Just a little bit. Now it's the barbecue sauce. I'm gonna do some with jalapenos, some, without the jalapenos, some with just a pulled pork. That way you get your choices, see what you like. Everyone has different taste buds, and that's what makes this world so good. We all have differences. So let's just kind of go from there. Now it's oven's at 350. Just kind of go in there and prop it in there, and there's no real time. It's all on when the cheese melts and everything looks good because it's all pre-cooked and it's all fairly warm. So and now it's the time we've been waiting for. Time to chow down. That usually happens. They usually steal them before we get to eat them. But there we are. So if you have any other, desires on what kind of food that we make over here at Hubbard Mechanical, follow us on all of our social media platforms.
Thanks for keeping it here. All right, Pinterest project number 2, red, white, and blue. Hey, that rhymed. We are going to work on this cute little garland. I love these because I have this double, tiered shelf here that I like to hang. I love seeing them over a mantle or anything like that. So I'm all about this for pretty much any season. And this is super easy. You'll just need some burlap twine or some sort of thin rope. Pick up a bunch of handkerchiefs. I got some of these 2 for $1, some $1, and this is all you need. Handkerchiefs or bandanas, whatever. Fold them in half, then literally cut your strips. Now, unless you want a longer, see, that's much longer. So if you want a much more longer, garland, you can do that, but I chose to cut these in half. And all you do, I fold them over, take it underneath my burlap, and I tie it across the burlap through it, pull, and there you go. You just keep doing this. Do whatever pattern you want. I mean, you can see this one is a little bit different than this one, but just go in and have fun. You can also use scrap pieces of ribbon, scrap fabric, whatever you want. This is so cute. I love this idea. You can get the kids involved, and we're going to show you some ways to use the other scraps that you have left over here in just a few minutes with our Pinterest project, Red, White, and Blue number 3. Stay tuned.
Hey guys, I'm at my house today, and we're in an upstairs hallway. And if you know me all, you know that I love anything old and anything that has a masculine tint to it. So what I mean by that is I love this black grass cloth wallpaper. And after we got it put up, it's even prettier to me. I kind of want to pet it and touch it because it reminds me of a horse mane. It's got a little copper in the background to it and a little silvery blue, but just absolutely, I just think it's beautiful. The other thing that's this moment that I love and cherish so much is, I think if the house were on fire, I might take this first thing. I'm not sure. I hate to say it that way, but this is an original charcoal, and it is by a local artist. She's moved now in Paris, where I live. I love my little Paris. And she was painting this in her front room, in her studio. And as she was painting, I saw it evolve, and I slowly fell in love with it. And it happened to be an auction item for the Humane Society, and I bid on it. And you see where it landed. So I absolutely love this piece. So the other thing is, I love mixing this old chest with modern. Books are always something I go to. And I've got these obelisks, which I think are beautiful. But what I'm going to do is say, this has been here for a while. It's not tired, but I just want to change it up. I'm going to take this away and give us a new look for the next season. So let's just strip it away and see what happens. You ready? Okay, we're getting close. I'm even going to take my little clock away and this little riser. I'm going to leave the books, like I've said. So let's bring this little bowl. Now you might start to understand why I left the books. Look at that. That acts as a riser where it was the clock. Now it's the bowl. Love that. Let's bring in our larger piece of blue and white. Again, if you've ever been in my shop, or if you've ever seen Amber and I work together, even in our own house, that there's a little sickness between she and I about loving us some blue and white porcelain, and that it's timeless. So I added a little collection. Again, in the shop we have these absolutely just beautiful silk florals. These are hydrangeas and tulips and a little mint, all artificial, which is stunning. And I just think that adds just a softness, an unexpected softness for something so masculine. But blue and white, books, our jockey, I just think that Ralph Lauren himself, I would hope that would be honored if he would at least appreciate his thought that I put into this. But this is my new take on kind of updating for the next few seasons, or next few months, to change it up so it's a little softer. If you want to come and see me, it's housebysd.com, or the store is 523-3933, and give us a call. Thanks.
Hey, it's Brittany with Comfort Master, and I would like to share with you some more tips on how to stay cool and save money this summer. One thing that a lot of people do in the summertime is before they leave their house, they will turn their temperature up 5 degrees to try to save some money. That does not work. Your unit actually uses more energy having to make up that temperature difference than it would to maintain one specific temperature. So what we recommend you do is find your comfortable setting between 68 and 72 and set it there and leave it. There are 2 exceptions to the rule. And number 1 is if you're going on vacation for an extended period of time, you can raise your temperature up just a couple degrees, maybe 2 or 3, not more than that though. And number 2 is if you are like me and you like to be colder at night, you can turn your thermostat down a degree or 2. And other than that, just set your thermostat to your comfortability and leave it. If you have any questions, feel free to give us a call, and also check your filter.
All right, Pinterest, red, white, and blue, hit or miss, number 3. find these styrofoam balls at one of your dollar places. I got 4 for $1 this size. You can get the slightly larger ones like this, 3 for $1. And then the bigger ones that we use were 2 for $1. So easy. Taking all that scraps, the leftovers that we had making our garland, we are going to make these cute little rustic balls that are great for just a glass container or if you had a bowl. You can do this with leftover ribbon, whatever. Now, I did this a couple different ways, I'll be honest. I used hot glue for some of them, and then, you know, I love spray adhesive. It just doesn't love me because it's hard to get off your hands. I kind of liked the spray adhesive. I felt like I didn't have to like go through and use as much, but for today, we're gonna use hot glue. Now, if you wanted a more polished look and not so much like little things like flying off of it and everything, you could go back with some decoupage and kind of seal the ball. But all you do is put your little bit of hot glue or spray adhesive, take it down, you're gonna roll it around, and you don't wanna, you gotta play with it a little bit, you know, because you want it to cover the whole ball. So I'm trying not to go exactly like as you would think I would need to go. I'm kind of going a little all over the place. We're gonna keep doing this. What I like about a low temperature hot glue gun is the fact that if this gets on your fingers, you're not like screaming. So if the, you know, the lower temperature is a little bit more child friendly if they want to work with this. And does anyone else feel like anytime you hold your hands up here and you're trying to do stuff, you're like, yeah, I blame the low blood pressure. All right, so we're just gonna keep doing this. Go back in. And we will keep doing that until we, you know, and actually if you want to start trying to smooth it down without actually having to do Mod Podge, you can start going the other way, which is what we're going to do. I'm going to start right here. Fold it. Bring it around. The main thing is we just don't want any of the styrofoam showing, so. This is why I liked the spray adhesive, although I will say my hands were covered. Okay, so I would keep going, maybe use a little bit of Mod Podge to kind of like smooth all that down and everything. Or you can just go in with a little bit of glue underneath and kind of smooth it around. But these were fun, okay? Needs a little bit more love, a little bit more love. But as you can see, and then we just throw them in. And I actually really like the smaller size. So I used a few of this size, a couple of the larger ones, but even if you have a large container, the smaller ones seem to kind of like work their way in between the others and kind of fill it up better. So don't be afraid to go with a couple different sizes. All right, stay tuned, we've got more coming your way. Well, Philip with the Glass Doctor is with us, showcasing this beautiful shower enclosure. This is so pretty. We saw the homeowner, she is just elated. Yeah. But you mentioned to me something before we started rolling about low iron glass?
Yeah, so in doing a new remodel like this and using a very light tile and light walls and great lighting, low iron glass is an important consideration because clear glass, although it's called clear, has a greenish tint to it, and that comes from the float plant and when it's created. And so low iron glass is actually created, hence the name low iron, with a lot less iron in it, and that causes it to be a much more crystal clear, and it'll even give you a slight blue hue where this might have been green before. And then as you view through it, clear glass may give you a greenish kind of tint of the tile, whereas this allows you to see the beautiful tile work in all of its glory.
How do you know if you are wanting to do a shower enclosure, which one you should go with without actually bringing in samples and looking at them?
Well, that's actually the way that we would recommend is you know, bringing in some tile and kind of looking at it behind the glass. That's why we've got our showroom open and allow people to come in and kind of touch the glass and see what they're actually looking at and bring their tile in as well and compare.
But I love what this has done to this room. This space feels so open. And if this was more like closed off, you know, like we've seen where they have half walls and stuff, it starts to close in the room a little bit. And everybody wants that open and airy feel to a lot of their spaces right now.
Yeah, and this captivates that. Like it's just completely translucent. And so, yeah, when you walk in this bathroom, it may feel narrow if you had a dividing wall here, but this feels like a huge master bath.
All right, in the meantime, if people have questions for you,
yeah, they can check out our website, glassdoctor.com, or give us a call, 859-278-0376.
well, it is typically this time of year that we start talking about the grand tour of homes with the Building Industry Association of Central Kentucky. And Tom Miller is with us telling us why we need to just wait just a little bit, because it's not falling in the middle of the summer this year.
It's not. This year we're going to have our grand tour of homes, which is the new home tour. That's going to be on the last 2 weekends of September. And then our annual tour of remodel homes is going to be in the middle of October.
So everything's just pushed a few months.
Yes, and this year it's going to be live and in person. So we're going to be on site for both tours.
And I would think that a lot of that has to do with the fact that your industry here with the Building Association is just crazy busy.
Yes.
There are some supply issues, so people are just having to, navigate those waters because it's taking a little bit longer.
Patience is key right now, but that's why one of the reasons why our tours were pushed back a little bit.
But also with COVID giving us a little bit more of a grace period to make sure that more people are being vaccinated and we're not seeing any upticks in numbers.
Absolutely.
All right, if people have questions about the tour or if they just want to know what's going on in the association, how do they get a hold of you all?
Well, you can look on our website, biacentralky.com, or social media pages, or call the office.
And there's all kinds of events that come up that even members of the community could maybe jump in and take advantage of, some dove hunts and different things. But if they want to look at joining the BIA, they can find all that information there as well.
Absolutely.
All right. All right, thanks for keeping it here. Pinterest hits and misses number 4, red, white, and blue. We took the stamped book, project that we've seen earlier this summer on the show and decided to go with the hardback version, which I've seen several times on Pinterest. Instead of ripping the spines off of these, we left them as is, and we had to go and do a lot of painting because it takes a lot to kind of cover all that up. Now, I used a lot of chalk paint, and with chalk paint, you really have to let it completely dry in between coats, or otherwise it's kind of gripping on itself and pulling off. And I used kind of like your press and seal to put underneath so I didn't get, paint all over the place. So, and I did one side, and then I did the insides trying to, cover a little bit. This one that I did needs a little bit of touch up because I thought the stamps were dry, and no, they were not. So, I'm gonna remove that. I'm gonna pick this up. I need to just touch up that R really quickly. I've already got my little glass block here with my R on it. Just stamp it down. Turn this around. I'm not trying to do this upside down. I just want, which of course now it has to dry, so it looks a little brighter right now. But I absolutely love these. If you've not worked with stamps, sometimes you've got to play around with it a little bit. When I first used this one, there was way too much ink on it, and you could tell when I tried to stamp. So play around with it, have fun. If you want to seal these so the paint maybe doesn't come off as much or scratch up, you can do that with a sealer. But I kind of like it a little bit more rustic, kind of, there's some scratches under here and everything. I like it. And I think it just works perfectly up on our little Americana shelf. And we've got more coming your way. Just a few recommendations. Not a full Pinterest hits and misses, but we're going to wrap this up. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Richard Weber out here at the court at the cottage at Springhouse Gardens and the barn at Springhouse. And I was just wanting to tell you a little bit more about why we do annual flowers here. And you might remember that an annual flower is one that you would have to plant every year. And a lot of our customers say, well, why do I want to plant flowers every year when I can plant something that comes back every year? Well, the main reason is that annual flowers are going to give you color from the first time that you plant them in May all the way to the first frost, if you choose them properly. So something like this Artist Blue Ageratum is going to bloom from spring until the first frost. So are the begonias. So are most of the other traditional annual flowers like impatiens and sun patience and cleome and different things like that. They've been bred to continually bloom from the time you plant them in the spring until the very first frost. So that is the main reason. A perennial there's no way a perennial's going to give you that much color. And if you wanted to plant perennials for color from spring to frost, you'd have to plant a bunch of different ones, and they come in and out of bloom. It only lasts maybe 3 to 4 to 5 weeks. So perennials, you usually need a lot more area if you're really wanting to have lots of color, and they require a lot more maintenance. So that might be one of those reasons that you would still come out to our garden center or any local garden center and pick out annual flowers. The other reason that's kind of fun to plant annuals is that you get to change the color every year. You're not locked in to whatever color scheme that you pick for a particular area. So this area, I've started planting some things. One of the things you have to do, you want to plant them properly. We've talked a little bit in previous episodes about proper planting techniques, and those are all what you'd have to do here. Don't plant them too deep, amend the soil, make sure that you're picking plants for the right amount of sun, the type of shade, sun or shade, and the type of soil that you have. But the other thing is that these are going to require a lot of water starting off. So you can tell this one's wilting a little bit. I've always got to have a watering can available. You really don't want these newly planted plants to stress too awful much. So if you have an irrigation system, that's the ultimate in lower maintenance and taking care of annual and perennial plantings. So plant them at the proper and recommended spacing, pick color schemes that you like, pick the plants for the right amount of sun or shade, and then make sure you water them frequently until they get rooted in. And those are some of the basics of why you might plant a bunch of annuals in an area like this so you can enjoy them all the rest of the season. So if you have more questions, come out and see us at Springhouse Gardens. We're at 185 West Catnip Hill Road in Nicholasville. And you can also find us on the web at springhousegardens.com and like us on Facebook and Instagram.
Well, we are almost out of time, but real quick, in just shopping lately, I've seen a lot of these little, like what I call knickknacks that you just put up on shelves that are Americana. Well, I wanted to make my own and get the kids involved. So I bought some unfinished wood pieces. We just painted them. This actually came in a big series of stars, and I had them, cut them off and paint them. And we are just gonna glue this on. I mean, you could easily take some of the extras that we had earlier and do the same thing. But I like tying in the kids. Super cute little way to just kind of tuck it up there in our little salute to America there. So, you've got your front door or back door covered, you've got your garland. One of the things that we kind of like brought back, which was a Pinterest kind of inspired project we did with Dwayne over at House by JSD, and he alluded to it, recently in the show, was taking a lot of American flags, and we actually put them into a container up on one of our top shelves. We pulled out some of our flowers out of our blue and white pottery and our white pottery. So lots of great ideas. These are great to get the kids involved with. Let them have fun and just celebrate this great country we live in. We will see you next time. And I've got a special Pinterest treat project coming up next time in celebration of the 4th.